But Mr. President says that we should have Stoneboy. Ladies and gentlemen, and there you have it.
Now let's come straight to Ghana. We are now moving a little from what? Iran and the Israelites. What did you just see? That was Stoneboy and Shatta Wale, right? These two guys, I told you, it is an entertainment space that we are in. They recently had this fundraising event that was spotted by the government of Ghana and president of Ghana and some cabinet members of the Ghanaian Association. They were all present over there where Stoneboy and Shatta Wale were invited. I was going to talk about it, but wait. I just needed some time because the people of Iran were so much on my neck that everybody wanted me to report on. And I spotted Shatta Wale and Stoneboy having this their play on the stage. But I knew it was fake. There was nothing real about it. There was nothing so real about Shatta Wale and Stoneboy shaking hands, from handshaking to hugging themselves. There was nothing so real about it. These people, they are doing this for what? For the clicks, for the views. And sometimes their emotions are also getting in. Right from the hug, what did Stoneboy say?
President say hug, you don't hug, you want him to jail us.
He said, do you want the president to jail us when the president asked us to hug? So meaning Stoneboy was not ready for the hug. He just did it for the camera. He did it because the president was available. Sometimes you guys do not just understand certain things. Stoneboy and Shatta Wale, they are the biggest major exports in Ghana and to Africa when it comes to music. Right? Just imagine how they did. At first, Stoneboy stretched his hand to Shatta Wale and they shook hands. And later on, the Ghanaian president asked them to hug themselves. After the hug, what did Stoneboy say? He said he was doing it because of the president, meaning he was not doing it willingly from his heart. You don't just see things online and just see it as it is. We are on the media, right? We understand certain things. So when it's happening, we know how to break it down. That's why you have people like Malike on the media. We don't take sides. We divert things and we dissect things. That's what the Malike media is about. If I am lying, after the recent event that they shook hands and to hugging of them, so how did it happen? What did happen? Stoneboy went to grant another interview again, right? And what did he say? He said, even his mother's grave will be mad at him the day you become very cordial or very close to Shatta Wale. So meaning there's some musical thing attached to it and there's an emotional thing attached to it between Shatta Wale and Stoneboy. Why? Because Stoneboy said he was raised from a background where he is well cultured and some words shouldn't be said, all because they are in a musical battle. Why? Because he said he has exalted him first, not only him, to the wife, to all his children, and his dad, and his dead mother who is her grave. And even to the president of the land, Stoneboy made those allegations. To you, my fellow Africans who do not understand the Ghanaian language, that was what he said in the interview. The recent interview he granted after their event. He said it, that there was no day he was going to make a very close relationship with Shatta Wale. Because Shatta couldn't maintain the gesture of him respecting the Ghanaian culture. Even though the battle had to be in between them for them to run the industry, but that wasn't the way. They were raised up as Africans or as Ghanaians. So Shatta's way of doing this is different from him. So there's no day you ever. Stoneboy used some strong words. So I'm saying this in my previous video. What did I say? I asked Stoneboy to reply Shatta Wale within 48 hours, right? What did Stoneboy do? Stoneboy went to Nigeria and said It is what a musical journey that they are in. So sometimes you need to follow the footsteps of each other, and sometimes you need to learn from another brother who is doing something that is hopping, that is making him trend, that is making him make it in the musical journey. But here comes the case. Stonebwoy has taken this thing with Shatta Wale too serious. Because sometimes when it's in between you and me, let's do it. You don't just go ahead and bring in my family. Stonebwoy is so pissed off, especially the point at where Shatta Wale insulted the wife and the mom. That place hit Stonebwoy a lot. That place hit Stonebwoy a lot. Assuming it's Stonebwoy alone that he jabs or he threw the jabs at, Stonebwoy might take it cool. So Stonebwoy only did that hugging. That hugging because of the president of Ghana. Because of his presence over there. What at all is happening to these two dudes? So most of you don't understand this. This is just the musical journey we are talking about. It's a battle, but there is also an emotion attached to it. There is also an emotion attached to it. People thought I was not going to talk about it. Why won't I talk about Shatta Wale and Stonebwoy when it's come to musical battles in Africa? Things are happening, but I need to report to you on this. Stonebwoy and Shatta Wale, their thing happens to be something that we all call it normal banter between musicians, but it's something going higher than that. It's something going higher than that. Stonebwoy's recent interview has generated a lot of conversations, and if you want to really read meaning into it, he said even his mother's grave won't be happy with him. The very day he will become very close with Shatta Wale. Just read meaning into that. So it means there's no day Shatta Wale and Stonebwoy will become very close. There will always be distance between them. So the hug that you saw wasn't real. That's just the facts about everything. The recent event that you said them shook hands and they hugged, it wasn't real. It was a fundraising. Shatta Wale also donated. Stonebwoy donated. Even Stonebwoy said he had to use $200,000 to produce song blah 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 blah, all in the name of what? The game. He wanted to be ahead of Shatta Wale in the donation process. Sometimes read meaning into things. You know, this Stonebwoy is Shatta Wale. And Stonebwoy made it right there. That is just like Has and Kotoko. They are not the same, right? Definitely, one party must be different from the other. So him and Shatta Wale are nowhere close to each other. He made it clear that very day. And after that, the interview he granted, he said the same thing. That there's no day they are going to be very close. Sometimes I wish these two guys can just end everything. But Stonebwoy is emotionally hurt by the words of Shatta Wale.